Summon Knights and buff your board. Hey everybody, I'm Espira. I'm going to be breaking down Swordcraft for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond Legends Rise. Kicking it off, we have Ian, Lovebound Knight, a 3-cost 2/2 with fanfare. Select another allied follower on the field and give it +1/+1. Also has Ward. So an early body that gets a little bit of boosting. This very much leans in the strategy that Swordcraft utilizes in terms of just constantly buffing the board. We're going to be seeing that card after card after card. Next up, we have Ernesta, Peace Hawker, a 6-cost 4/6 with fanfare. Give all other allied followers on the field +1/+1. Then evolve, replicate the effects of this card's fanfare ability. Do it again. Decent stats, nothing too crazy here. Of course, we are still in the bronze cards. Then we've got Lyra, Luminous Mage, a 3-cost 1/2 fanfare. Summon a Steelclad Knight, and then whenever an allied officer follower enters the field, restore 1 defense to your leader. Steelclad Knights are 1-cost 2/2s, and they do have the officer trait, thus activating Lyra's ability and giving us a little defense. You guys might not know, but this is a brand new channel. If you guys have been enjoying my coverage of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, subscribe button down there will be much appreciated. Next up, we have the greatest of puppers, a Hound of War, a 3-cost 4/2 with enhanced 6. So if you have 6 or more play points available, you get to summon 2 copies of Hound of War. So that's turning your 4/2 in stats into 12/6 across 3 different bodies. So very cool. Nice little tempo to know that your early body can be able to elevate it into a little bit harder for your opponent to deal with. Then we've got Innate Samurai, a 2-cost 2/1 with fanfare. If you've unlocked Super Evolution, give this follower Bane, and it innately is a 2/1 rusher. So very interesting here. Of course, if they don't want cards to use up all the play points for being able to have additional abilities later in the game, I do think the way of being able to lock it to, hey, have you unlocked evolution? Have you unlocked super evolution? Is a really elegant way of being able to give cards an extra boost without having to lean on a bunch of jargon that tries to circumvent enhance. Overall, cheap, efficient body, decent if you know you're going to need some late game removal. Then we've got our bronze spell, Nightly Rending, a 4-cost. Select an enemy follower on the field and destroy it. Summon a Steelclad Knight. So removal that comes with a body, always welcome. Especially being an officer means it's going to be able to proc off additional abilities. Moving into the silver cards, we have Luminous Commander, a 1-cost 1/1. Whenever an allied officer follower enters the field, give this follower +1/+0 until the end of the turn. Then evolve, summon a knight. So obviously it can burst into some decent damage if you play it, survives, and then you're able to just play a bunch of things and swing for, like, I don't know, who knows how big, right? Or odds of turn 1 play. Odds are your opponent having a turn 1 play to be able to remove your Luminous Commander. Not super likely, and then you're able to get in for 3 damage really early on if you're able to play 2 1-drops a turn afterwards. So it does have its uses for sure. Then we've got Luminous Magus. Magus? 5-cost 1/3 fanfare. Summon 3 copies of Steelclad Knight. Whenever an allied officer follower enters the field, give it Ward. Clearly here, Swordcraft is leaning into these cards that are able to give your officers boosts when they come in. Previously, we'd seen the Luminous Mage being able to give ourselves some defense whenever one comes in, and now we're seeing the Mages here giving them Ward. And then to round it out, we have a Luminous Lance Trooper, a 2-cost 1/2 fanfare. Summon a knight. Then whenever an allied officer follower enters the field, give it Rush, rounding out the ability to attack with them as well as defend and gain life with them across all the Luminous. Then we've got Shinobi Squirrel, absolutely hilarious 2/1 for 2 with ambush, which means it can't be targeted or attacked into until it takes an action. And then evolve, summon a Shinobi Squirrel, so you'll be able to get yourself another 2/1. Moving on to our silver spell, we've got Iron Crown Majesty. So a 3-cost spell, select a mode to activate. You can either summon a Steelclad Knight and a Knight, or give all allied followers on the field +1/+1. So a little bit of flexibility there on if you need the buff to be able to remove stuff off the board or be able to go for game, versus being able to produce 2 bodies if you've got nothing else going on. Moving on to our gold cards, we have Gino, Actrator, a 7-cost 7/6 rush, can attack 2 times per turn, and that's strike, which means it'll activate whenever it attacks. You get to give this follower barrier and summon a knight. So this is a huge tempo play, especially if your opponent doesn't have a way to deal with Gino. Odds are this is going to be removed instantly, but the fact that it comes down, it's a 7/6 when it strikes, it gives itself barrier, which means you are going to be able to remove 2 things off your opponent's board, and this thing stays at a healthy 7/6. And then on top of that, you're able to summon a couple of knights, are very much welcome. Very, very cool. We've got a Valse Silent Sniper, a 3-cost 2/1 fanfare. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 5 damage. Enhance for 6. So 3 turns later, you get to give this follower +2/+2 and ambush. So really cool. So being able to deal 5 and then just have it chill there as a 4/3 to be able to receive additional buffs the turn afterwards, very nice. We've already seen a couple of sword cards before, and this is one of them. We got Zirconia Iron Crown Ward, a 4-cost 4/4 evolve, summon 2 copies of Knight, then give everything +1/+1. We do love those buff abilities. Then we got Amalia Lux Paladin. She gives me insane lightning vibes from Final Fantasy. We have an 8-cost 6/6 with fanfare. You get to summon 4 copies of Steelclad Knight. So we're just going to fill up the entire board with these 2/2s. And whenever another allied follower enters the field, give it +1/+0, rush, and ward. So definitely leaning into trying to push for a board clear and then have some sustain going into our 9th and 10th turn. Our golden spell is Ravening Tentacles, a 7-cost spell. It's a select an enemy follower on the field or the enemy leader and deal 5 damage, restore 5 to your leader. So just burst, deal 5, and then be able to heal 5 massive. You can remove something, you can go for game, you can put your opponent in a very uncomfortable position with being able to deal 5 damage wherever you would like. Then moving on to our legendaries, we've already seen Albert, 11 Storm Saber, a 5-cost 3/5 with Storm, and then Enhance if you play it for 9, deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. Give this follower can attack 2 times per turn, so it'll be able to swing for 6, assuming no additional stat buffs. Then we've got Amelia Silver Captain, a 6-cost 4/4 fanfare. Draw 2 Swordcraft followers, recover 3 play points. Always nice to be able to draw specifically things from our class, especially when we've got a bunch of neutral stuff in the deck. And then Super Evolve, give all other allied Swordcraft followers on the field a barrier. Very gross when you're so combat oriented as a class. Very nice. And then finally, we've got Kazumitsu, Enduring Warrior, a 3-cost 2/2 with last words, gain Crest. Kazumitsu, Enduring Warrior. Super Evolve, give this follower Storm, so being able to attack the leader or potentially being able to just attack into something on the board. Crest, countdown 2. Last words, summon a Kazumitsu, Enduring Warrior. So this crest will die, summon a Kazumitsu, and then if Kazumitsu dies once again, you'll be able to get another crest for 2 turns later, being able to get another Kazumitsu over and over and over again. So if you're able to get this guy out on turn 3, and then just being able to accrue, 3 or 4 times his recursion throughout a game, I mean, that's pretty solid value. Clearly, it's no secret here that Swordcraft is orienting itself towards being able to deploy knights onto the field and then giving everything stat buff. Let me know which Swordcraft card is your favorite in comments down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.